What's up, folks? It's the Bearded Bass Man with you again. As you can tell from the backdrop here, this video, I won't be fishing in this video. Instead, I thought I'd touch on a subject that I've been seeing pop up on social media and YouTube here the last couple weeks. And that is people getting confused and wound up with pro staffing and full-fledged sponsorships. I think it's a kind of a hot topic right now, and it's a hot topic in general because a lot of people confuse the two. They think if you're a pro staffer that you're automatically sponsored in some way, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. Usually, a company will use pro staffing positions, and I'm going to use pro staffing a lot in this little video, but a lot of companies use pro staffing positions to get their product's name out there, get usage and face time. And one thing you have to understand is the pro in pro staffing does not mean professional. It means promotional. You are a promotional staff member if you are on a pro staff. A lot of people have, I've noticed, a lot of people have a very sour taste in their mouth for pro staffers and pro staffing positions because they think that it is ruining our sport. That's a lot of the comments I've been seeing on some of these videos and some of these social media posts. And while I don't think they're ruining our sport, they have definitely blown up in the last year, probably the last 3 or 4 years that I've noticed. But one thing I'm going to touch on here a little bit, and like I said, this is all my opinion, so you can take it for what it's worth. But one thing we need to touch on is pro staffers don't get paid anything. I'll take that back. They usually don't get paid anything. One way a pro staffer could make any kind of monetary amount of money with a company is, I know you've seen it a million times in YouTubers' videos when they're plugging a product. They'll give you a use my code kind of a thing. It's, if you want to save 15% on your order to blah, 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 use my code, bing, right here. What that actually is that's a way for the company that they are being a promotional staff member for to track, for lack of a better word, their worth. A company will actually keep track of how many times that code is hit, how many times it's used for orders. And a company will actually use that to reward their promotional staff members. So if you sell, they sell 100 orders and 60 of them is using your code, some businesses will use that as maybe to give you a better code, or you could be entitled to a portion of their sales. But for the most part, a pro staffer does not make any money with the company that they're promoting. They're doing it either sometimes they do it for the recognition, they do it to build their own personal platforms. And with some people, they do use it for those codes and whatnot, like I just explained. But it's very rare that a pro staffer will make any kind of money off of it, which is completely unlike somebody that is sponsored. Someone who is sponsored is getting money. If they're not getting money, they're getting goods from a company. But you rarely see a regular Joe getting sponsored by a fishing company. It's more of the big names, somebody who can get that name out there on a higher platform. Not saying that regular Joe Schmoes can't become sponsored, but there's a very low likelihood that if you have 20 followers on social media that you're going to get sponsored by Abu Garcia. It's not going to happen. But I digress. Back to my pro staffing concerns. My opinion on the matter is I'm very much for pro staffers. I am a member of more than one pro staff, or I'm a pro staffer, I should say. Getting tongue tied there. I am a pro staffer to more than a few companies. Now, bear in mind, these companies, I use their equipment. I use their goods. use their services, and they're not all fishing companies. But I would not consider myself, and I wouldn't even consider asking or even applying to become a pro staffer with the company unless you're already using their products, you believe in their products, and it's something you have faith in. If you're going out of your way just to say, hey, I'm a pro staffer on company XYZ, I got it on my jersey, then I got it on my truck and my boat. I don't use their gear though, never used their gear, until I became a pro staffer. You're probably not going to like the reciprocating, uh, you're not going to like the attitude you get from that company. I strongly suggest to anyone viewing this video, if you're considering a pro staffing position, make sure that it's a company that you either, one, already have experience with, or two, would like to get into experience with, and you're prepared to buy a product to get some usage out of there before you even consider contacting this company and asking for maybe a promotional staff position. Another thing you need to consider if you're thinking about going down the promotional staff the trail is, what do you want out of it? Are you going to use this promotional staff membership to gain, build your own platform, whether it be on social media or professionally, or are you using it, pretty much to become a billboard? Because that's essentially what you are when you're a pro staffer. You are that company's billboard. One thing you need to keep in mind, though, is when you become a pro staffer for that, you are essentially representing that company. It's the same, it's almost the same mentality as if you're fully sponsored, but you're not fully sponsored. You have to take into account that some companies will actually cut ties with you if you use certain material on your social media platforms. I have heard more than one story where a pro staffer had certain views and publicly expressed those views on his personal social media accounts, and his private social media accounts were also tied to his, I guess, business social media account, whatever the case may be. But the companies that he was a promotional staff member on did not share the same views, and they cut ties with him. And it's something that happens. You've got to be willing to take that risk. You have to realize that, as I said, you are a walking billboard for that company. But if that's a route that you're comfortable with, and you're comfortable with your stuff being out there for your company to be a part of, then you shouldn't have an issue with any of the details that go along with that. Pro staffing can be an amazing thing. I think that's what a lot of folks actually don't realize is the bigger companies, they really don't necessarily need pro staffers as much as smaller companies do. Less known companies. I won't even say smaller companies. I'll say less known companies. Pretty much every company that I am a pro staff member on right now is nationally a lesser known company. They're not Strike King. They're not Costa. They're not any big names. But I completely feel 100% confident using their products, so that's why I'm here. And the biggest thing about that is why I think those companies benefit more from the promotional staff member is one example I have. One of the companies that I am a pro staff member on is JB's Fish Sauce. Now, JB's Fish Sauce is ran by Jim Block, and for the love of me, I can't remember what state he's out of, but he's out of the Midwest. And here in North Central West Virginia, up until about 3 or 4 years ago, no one knew who JB's Fish Sauce was. Nobody knew what it was. I can remember having a JB's Fish Sauce hat and decal and shirt and all that good stuff. And people would actually ask me if it was some sort of food additive you put it on. It's fish sauce. It must be something you add to fish after you cook it. Through pro staffing, and I've got to believe this is a lot through pro staffing. Not that Jim doesn't work hard, because obviously he does. But I have watched that company pretty much explode over the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, it went from you had to pretty much get JB's fish sauce right from uh, the source to now you can go on Amazon. Amazon has JB's fish sauce. I can drive to Morgantown right now and go into Sportsman's Warehouse, and there's 5 or 6 cents on Sportsman Warehouse's shelves. And whereas the same people that sell it now in Sportsman's Warehouse was probably the same people that was asking me 4 or 5 years ago if they could get some fish taco sauce, because that's pretty much what people thought that was. Another company that I'm tied to and very much believe in their product is Rocky Brook Sinkers. Brooke and Stephanie Polly have done an amazing job, and this is not this is a company that's been around for a while, but they have done an amazing job building that company. And even so, to the fact that you can go on Cabela's website and buy Rocky Brook fish, Rocky Brook Sinkers, and by extension now Bass Pro Shops. Bass Pro Shops acquired Cabela's, and there you go. You go from somewhere you're selling limestone sinkers out of primarily north central West Virginia to nationally, globally, I guess, even in some small token. But I got to believe that's another thing where promotional staff members have helped those companies just become more known. And I think that's why smaller businesses, and once again, I'm not saying smaller, less known businesses benefit more from pro staff members than the big companies. Because the big companies, you already know their names. But if you see some guy getting out of his truck and he's wearing a Rocky Brook Sinkers jersey or shirt, hat, whatever the case may be, you're going to ask, what is up with that? Just like the JB's fish sauce with me. What's up with that? You tell somebody a little bit and they go, I'm going to check out it myself. They jump on the old Google machine and lo and behold, now they're interested. They may be buying product just because one promotional member, one pro staffer, um, got them on the train, got that train of thought going, and there you go. It's the multiplying effect. Once one person hears, that one person tells one person, that person tells 3 people, that person tells 9 people, whatever the case may be. So, do I think pro staffers are bad? Absolutely not. I think pro staffing is far from hurting our sport. I think, if anything, it's helping it grow. It's definitely getting names and practices out there that folks may not know unless they were actually talking to somebody who had some information about it. The folks out there that have that bad taste in their mouth, they have that downward sighted at promotional staff members. I think a lot of that has to be for, and here we go, posers. That's right, posers. The people who, as I spoke about earlier, have no information, no knowledge on the product that they're promoting. They're just, I got it on my shirt. I'm a pro staffer. I'm a pro staffer. You have to listen to what I'm talking about. It's on my jersey. It's on my truck. It's on my boat. And because of that, a lot of folks get that negative image of pro staffing, and they think everyone's like that. And that's the poser. While he is they, I won't even say they because there's definitely some female ones out there too. While they represent a small portion of pro staffers, they are far and few between the majority. The majority are people out there, as I just spoke. They're trying to help that company out as well as themselves. They're climbing that. Let's go. They're climbing that corporate slash social ladder, and in doing so, they're getting information out there. They're getting knowledge out there. They're getting exposure, and one way to do that is getting it out there, getting the name out there, and getting everything that they can possibly get as far as exposure goes. So, do I think they're bad? Absolutely not. Do I think they're essential? Not really. I don't think they're essential because how old is the sport of fishing? The actual sport of fishing. It's generations old. And pro staffing positions, pro staffing and sponsorships have only been around for probably the last 50 years or so. So you can't really say that it's a necessity, but it's definitely a big part of it. And I think it's a positive part of it. Portrayed in the right light, it's a positive part of it. A lot of people that were on pro staffs and have been jaded, I've seen a lot of these videos. They have actually, in their videos and their social media posts, they have explained why they feel jaded. And all of them are valid. They really are. But at the same time, you're dealing with a company whose first and foremost objective isn't going to be about their pro staff members. It's about generating sales, making money. And while some of these folks that have given up their pro staffers or pro staffing positions have definitely made these companies money, I won't fault them for anything, because they definitely have. In the grand scheme of things, as far as that company is concerned, they'll find somebody else. So it's probably not as detrimental as a lot of folks think. And I'm sure a lot of the folks watching this video know what company I'm talking about, because it seems like they've been losing a lot of pro staffers and actually sponsored members here lately. But I don't know why that is. I have absolutely no information on any of that. I've never used their products. Really don't have any want to use their products. They have nice products. Don't get me wrong. I've seen them. I've seen them in action. I've touched them, felt them, and held them. But I have absolutely no knowledge about that. So I'm not even going to touch on that. That's a whole other animal, although it has sparked this video, so I guess I'm touching on it a little bit. But bear in mind, this is all my opinion. It's worth what it is. You can take it with a grain of salt, but I thought I'd just get my 2 cents out there. Like I said, I've seen a lot of this posts on social media and YouTube the last 2 or 3 weeks, and being that I can't get out and fish because the weather here in north central West Virginia has become insanely bipolar. I haven't been able to get out and fish at all. It's either freezing cold outside and it's blowing snow, or the water's just so high that you can't fish. But hopefully in these next couple weeks, I'll be able to get out there and get you some fishing content. I do have a couple comparison videos and review videos that I've definitely got coming on the deck, especially with a couple rods and a couple reels that I've acquired, some here recently and some last year, that I thought I would give some reviews on. I've definitely got those coming. So if I can't make any fishing content and videos, is that even a word? It is now. But if I can't release any fishing content videos, I'm definitely going to get those videos up and coming for you folks. But I appreciate the, stopping by and listening to my little bit of a rant. I hope I didn't sound too crazy or too self-indulged. Whatever the word I'm looking for. I don't think it's self-indulged. Anyway, appreciate you guys for stopping on by, listening to my little video here. If you stumbled onto this channel by happenstance, go ahead and give me a like if you liked it. If you didn't, thumbs down. But if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. I said I got some videos coming here. It keeps you focused and entertained as much as I can. And as always, I'm the Bearded Bass Man. Thanks for watching.